Hello people, today I thought I'd do something different. I'm going to be reading out some of my old creative writing. So yeah. I have no idea how bad or good this is going to go because I have not read these in quite a long time. And these go back quite a couple of years, some in my school years. So yeah. Let's go to the first one. As the metallic doors slammed open, the blood-curdling screams filled the room. The shackles of the straitjacket they forced me into, barely drowning out the horrific cries for mercy. Still trying to get my head around it. Who were these deranged people? What did they want from me? How did they bring me here? So many questions and so little time to answer them. The bullet in my leg didn't help, lipping my way as they led me down the bright lit corridor, stained with blood as another person with a knife for his hand was dragged away, and the sound of a drill filled the room as blood pasted the faded windows, before a shadow struck the glass with their hands pounding, for his hammers dragged against the window eerily until they were out of sight. Wow. Did not expect. Hopefully the next one is not too depressing. I have no idea. I've been through many phases throughout my life, so this is going to be interesting to see what's actually written in here. We raised our glasses into the air as others dropped our guns and joined in to celebrate. It was over. We had won. We had set ourselves free. We had formed a key out of bullets and unlocked the cage. We were like a bird. The chains and shackles of prejudice had crumbled and the cells of the prison had fallen to rubble. Much like what would become of the world we live in if we didn't pick up our daggers and slit the throats of discrimination. But now was a time to forget all that had been done. We had vengeance for all those who suffered at the nooses of oppression. The music started to rise as we partied into the night, and then the ground began to throw us off our feet. We rushed into the building to see what we thought was dead, as a decaying flurry of mushroom clouds filled the night sky. Before we could react, let alone prepare, smoke filled the room, followed by wailing sounds of mortars as blizzards of bullets pounded the walls, bludgeoning the people around me as we ducked. The sound of ricochets slicing through skin like a wire of a piano, piercing someone. Piercing screams filled the room as more knifed in the gunfire. Blood pasted the rooms and flooded the floor. I caught sight of a person ducking behind a file cabinet, only to see an arrow stab them in the back. They were behind us, and it wasn't long before I heard it again and again. I covered my eyes at the sight, trembling, shaking. All I could hear was the sound of shackles and chains being dragged across the floor, as I was forced face down onto my chest and had my hands chained to each other, before a fist was thrust at my head and continued to bury my face in the concrete, harder and harder with every hit, as I screamed, blood from my face filling my mouth, as I felt one last, final blow, shock with pain and agony, as the pain hit me like a brick shattering glass. It went jet black. Jet black was all I remember. Wow. I'm going to scroll through and hope these aren't all as bad. I have no idea what was going through my head when I wrote these, so you and I are on the same page right now. Oh yay. This doesn't look good, but oh well. They knew it would happen. Pretty much everyone did. But just how little we knew about how much devastation it would bring. Only aided its wrath. We were so unprepared, so blind to the bubbling inferno beneath our feet. so lost in our daily mundane lives that we couldn't hear the blizzard of blood-red boulders as they knifed into the clouds, ready to obliterate the streets to rubble and spray our blood on the bricks of our houses. Ooh, wow, that was not a happy one, was it? Alright, I found another one. I'm going to book 2 now. Actually, I should put my glasses on. This eye is fucked. Halloween, a night of going out, trick-or-treating, and embracing the more dark and creepy art and style. Or so it is now. Halloween was not always a night of joy and celebration, and many forget exactly why the holiday is celebrated. Halloween was not originally a fun event. In fact, it was one which many feared. To step outside, let alone sleep. Halloween was a time where all kinds of hideous, petrifying creatures and demons plagued the villages and the cities, tearing the very souls of anything they could to get their bloodlusted claws on. Little did people know these very battles still rage on. Luckily, me and the others were taught this, and spend the night marching out to slay while others play. This would be my 16th battle. It was hard to believe that we've had survived so many. I thought to myself as I dug my athame into the thin wooden bowl I had used to engrave the most powerful ward I knew. My familiar, however, refused to summon. Keith's had, though. It stood cautiously next to him, but its inflamed-like eyes completely engulfed any assumption that was a spirit to be reckoned with, causing a raven to zoom past Keith's head, loosely hooded head. His robe was made by him many years ago, but the jet black with a tint of crimson like blood dye had not faded a vast amount. He only had to restitch it twice, and after the latest attack. On the other hand, I have had to remake mine 7 times, as my iron armour slows me down enough for any creature fast enough to carve his talons through them. But I'd rather have my cloak carved than my heart. My stamina's a lot weaker than the rest of the group, so I use as many body armour as possible. Maven, the local witch, would constantly complain as her son would have to forge them again and again. This battle would be very different, for we had all nearly mastered the art of evoking various demons to fight with us, as well as a new ward which has so far worked in repelling the enemy's abilities. Like their flaming spheres, they catapult us and burn the forest tree asunder. It's now an hour away from the Halloween morning, yet it's completely screaming with silence. The ancient trees swayed back and forth as they creaked like a decaying, rocking chair. The wind and blades being shift was the only sound to hear as the familiars hoarded in packs, eyes darted to the shadows of the forest, fangs ready to feast on the enemy's flesh, bows aimed prepared to thunder steel arrows into eerie emptiness. While others prayed for the divines to aid us, the last candle was blown out. Complete and utter darkness strangled us as we cast our last protection spells. Oh wow, I remember what I was going through when I wrote this. So at this time I was, thanks to The Simpsons somehow, I don't even know how I've forgotten the whole story, discovered Wicca and the whole stuff, and I got obsessed with it. And the obsession's gone now, but I was fascinated by it, and that's the same time I started writing this. So yeah. Ooh, I got a... Oh no, okay, well, little background behind this. My tutor gave us an image to work with, and it was right around Christmas time. So they gave us a Christmas image and they said, describe this in a unique way. So this is what I wrote. As the snow fell gracefully on the glass windows, the tinsel glistened the bluish grey sky, while a strong aroma of cinnamon flooded the room, drowning every inch in its vast ocean of intoxication. pounding the walls with its fists of entrapment. As the cold winter weather thrashed through the uninsulated cracks in the windowsill, launching its blocks of ice into the room, as if it tore the heated lungs of the room open, sucking the hot in, converting it to a deathly cold, while the snow gently thundered at the glass, staining the once clean wrists of the window. Doors acted as a barrier, locking and trapping all in the room, imprisoning the boxes and the presents, while the tight paper strangled them like a noose in the cherry innocent room. I'm sorry about I have mistakes, and if you're hearing this sound, I have no idea what's going on in my mouth. I wanted to. They said unique. That was my idea of unique. Literally, the image is very questionable looking tinsel. Let's just say it looks like something quite phallic. Windows and a load of presents. And yeah. Alright, I've got another one. I think this might be the last one, but I'll have another look. As I walked through the woods, I could smell the corpses. The forgotten heroes that had to be knifed by the hail of gunfire. The corpses that were once parents, children, wives, husbands, that are now nothing but another abandoned soul left to decay among the mass mess. The sempiternal battles had left us. I kept trudging on through the mixture of mud and broken sandbags. I could almost taste the fear that thundered into these dead soldiers' hearts, that struck them down to their knees. The air was so dense with mist, it was as if I was breathing in the deception that had rendered these men and women blind, the lies that showed their eyes shut, and with it their purpose. It was like you could feel the rag that covered their eyes and the shackles that had been placed around their ankles, never questioning why, what they were fighting, why they were fighting, standing in lines like sheep copying the shepherd. Unknown why. As I gazed down the destruction, I asked myself those very questions. Were we just bullets in a gun if anyone's launched into another pointless war? I'm not even going to ask what was going through my head when I wrote this. It could have been me going for a very anti-conformity, spiritually new age phase. I've been through quite a lot. And I used to think quite a lot of weird stuff, so I think that's what was going through my head when I oh wow, that felt mean to read, because I know what my mind was thinking. It was writing about. That looks like the last of them, yeah. There I have another book, but it's full of a really, really old fanfic I was writing, and my fanfics it's all over the place. It's literally like a part of something. It's not even a story, not a short story. It's just sad. I gave up on it years ago, and eventually, after coming back to it years later, I took one of the concepts and now I'm writing my novel with it. So yeah, I love creative writing, but I hated English. The irony in that statement. No, I loved English. I used to, every time I had an English exam, my tutor would say, do creative writing bit first, then do the rest, because I was really good at it. Oddly enough, before I end this video, I've got to share this story. Literally, apparently the best work I ever did was where I was in, it was a test paper, I believe. It was a past paper before the actual exam, and might have been the actual exam. I don't know. My memory's very but I was writing this thing, and all I can remember is someone describing leaving some place, then being 2 years, and return to ancestors' home, and I really wish I had it on me now, because I fell asleep 18 times writing it. It was one of those days I had to keep shaking myself awake. And yeah, after leaving the room and thinking, oh my god, what did I just write? What the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I tired? They hung it on the wall and told me it was the best they'd ever seen, and I was like, are you sure? You're not. Were you high when you put it up? Because I was falling asleep. But no, if I ever manage to get my hands on it, I know I'll definitely put it up, but I doubt I will. It's probably gone by now. But yeah, it's apparently the best work I ever did. But yeah, I see if you'll find any more stuff I've done. Feel free to criticise. I had to literally pause and change the things because my punctuation, let alone grammar back then, was ridiculous. So some of them weren't even understandable sentences, but those things date back to like years. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here and continue some more. Bye!